And at this point, we're already seeing signs of exactly what we're going to expect in a shutdown situation. Bureau of Labor Statistics confirmed yesterday that if there is still a shutdown on Friday, we're not going to be able to get job numbers that could impact data collection. And of course, guys, that's just one of hundreds of things that could happen as we go into a government shutdown.
So that was CNBC talking about the fact that the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they won't be putting out information if we see a government shutdown. Now, how does this tie into the Social Security increase, our COLA for 2026? That's what I want to talk about in this video, because if the Bureau of Labor Statistics is not putting out information, then we won't see the COLA increase. And so I'm going to start from the beginning, and then we'll work our way through, and I'll explain to you why this is a very serious situation when it comes to this government shutdown, and how it's not just going to impact people who are working for the federal government, but it can impact others as well. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys are watching this video and you find this information informative, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. I want to start from the beginning because I just want to give you guys kind of a framework when it comes to Social Security, when it comes to increase, when it comes to COLA. So if we start from the beginning here, we know the Bureau of Labor Statistics will be putting out information for 2026, the COLA increase for 2026. And so first, let's take a look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let's look at their calendar here. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they give out information when it comes to jobs reports, but they also give us information when it comes to inflation. So the CPI. Every month we get the CPI. Now, for September, we're going to see that information on October 15th. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we'll see that information on October 15th. If we're facing a government shutdown, that could be delayed. That information could come out. We won't get it on October 15th. And so if we don't get that information on October 15th, it's going to be impossible for the Social Security Administration to calculate COLA for 2026. And remember, when it comes to the cost of living adjustment for 2026, they're taking July, August, and September. So they're taking the numbers, the CPIW numbers from July, August, and September. That's how they calculate COLA. So we already know July. We already know August, but if they delay the information for September, then it'll be impossible for them to calculate COLA for 2026. So let's look at what the projections are right now. So when it comes to Social Security for 2026, the cost of living adjustment, the projections that are coming out right now, and this is coming from the Senior Citizens League, is 2.7%. Now, I know you're saying 2.7%, that's not a lot. Well, we're looking at the CPIW. We're looking at inflation. If inflation is higher, then the cost of living adjustment will be higher. But right now, inflation is around 2.9 to 3%. Okay, that's where it is right now. So the hope is that if we see COLA at 2.7%, or if we see COLA at 2.8%, that next year, when it kicks in, because it kicks in January, when that happens, we're hoping that inflation drops below that 2.7 or 2.8%. But right now, inflation is above that 2.7 or 2.8%. And so if inflation continues to rise, then you're going to see a cost of living adjustment at about 2.7 or 2.8%. But your purchasing power is still going to be less because the cost of living that you receive is not going to be keeping up with the current inflation. And to go just a little step further, when it comes to what the estimates are right now, 2.7%, that would mean for the average person receiving Social Security benefits, and the average person receiving Social Security benefits is around $2,000. That would mean that we would see an increase of about $54 per month. That would be the increase. Now, you have to also calculate what Medicare is going to look at. Medicare Part B. Medicare Part B right now, they're talking it's going to be about $21.50. So that is going to be taken from this $54. So you're really not going to see a large increase. Even $54 is not a large increase, but it'll be even less if you are having Medicare Part B taken out of your Social Security benefits. And so right now, the plan is for us to receive that information mid-October. However, as I stated before, if we see a government shutdown, that is not going to be the case. We will not get that information mid-October. We might have to wait until the government shutdown is over. Now, even if we see a situation where we see a government shutdown, and let's say it's a month, well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're going to be behind. And so now they have to play catch up, because not only are they giving out information when it comes to CPI, but they're giving out other information as well. And so you'll have a lot of people who will be furloughed at this time, and they'll have to come back to work. Now, let's hope that they're just furloughed. There is talk. There's talk in the White House. There's talk in Congress that we could see firings across the board when it comes to federal employees. So if they don't have a budget for the federal employees, they're just going to fire those people. And then I'm assuming once the government is back up and running, then they'll have to hire people, rehire people, which doesn't make sense to me, because you're going to have, if you furlough people and tell them, look, once a government shutdown is over, you guys can come back to work, then those people will probably stay loyal and come back to work. However, if you fire people, some of those people that you fire are going to go get another job, which means you're going to need to hire new people and train those new people, which could take time. So if we're looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics as an example, let's say they have a backlog now because we saw a government shutdown for a month. And so the Bureau of Labor Statistics will have to rehire people or bring people back from furlough, depending on how they handle the situation with the shutdown. And so then those employees are going to have a backlog of all this information that they're going to have to get out. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And so we could see a delay when it comes to the cost of living adjustment. Now, worst case scenario is we see a government shutdown and it doesn't just last a month, but it lasts longer than that. If it starts pushing close to next year, now we're looking at a situation where coal is not going to go out at all. And so that cost of living increase, we won't see it. We won't see it until they can figure out what's going on with the government. And so the fear is right now that we will see a government shutdown because both sides are not coming together to try to work things out. Okay, you have Republicans, they say, well, we have a clean CR, continued resolution. And basically what that is saying is we're just going to keep the government open. We'll kick the can down the road for another couple of months. And this is very common. This is what Congress is known for, just continued resolutions. However, when Speaker Johnson came into office as the speaker, he said, we're getting rid of these continued resolutions. We have 12 appropriations bills. We're going to go ahead and get those passed before, so we don't have to do a continued resolution. Well, that's not what's going on. And that's not what's happened the last few years. The last few years, we've come up to the 11th hour every time, and then Congress figures out a way to work things out. But right now, I don't really see it. And so we might actually see a government shutdown. We'll just have to see how long it lasts. But I just wanted to bring this information to you. So people who are waiting for this COLA increase, waiting to hear about the COLA increase, guess what? If we see a government shutdown, we're probably not going to find out that information right away. It's going to take some time for us to find that information out. And let's just hope, fingers crossed, that if it's a government shutdown, it's a quick government shutdown and people are able to go back to work and they're not furloughed for a long period of time. If we see furloughs for a long period of time, some of those people, whether they be fired or they're just on a furlough, some of those people will not come back because they're going to find other work. Because if you're furloughed and you're not being paid, guess what? You still have to pay your bills. You still have to pay rent. You still have to pay your mortgage. So some people will decide this is an opportunity for me to find another job because this is not going to work, these whole furloughs. And federal employees, just as a whole, they face this every year. And that's just, that would be stressful in itself. The fact that there's no stability, where you're looking at a situation where you need to save up because you know come October 1st, you could be out of work for a period of time. And so I want to know what you guys think about all this. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.